PlayStation's initial launch in the mid-90s was all about being the cool, edgy alternative to the more family-friendly Nintendo consoles. PlayStation marketed themselves as the console for older kids who wanted something more mature and adult-focused. This marketing approach was reflected in the console's design and in its first-party games, which were more violent and mature than those of their competitors. With the launch of the PlayStation 2 in the early 2000s, PlayStation shifted its focus from just being the cool console to being the dominant one. The PS2 era was all about power and innovation, with the company heavily emphasizing the console's technical capabilities and its vast library of exclusive games. But the PlayStation 3 era was a challenging one for Sony. The PS3 was criticized for being too expensive and difficult to develop games for, which led to a major dip in PlayStation's popularity. In response, Sony shifted their marketing approach to focus on the console's multimedia capabilities, like the ability to play Blu-ray discs and stream content from the internet. They brought in actors to play executives who quickly became fan favorites and got the troops excited for the console wars. By the time the PlayStation 4 launched in 2013, Sony went back to focusing on what had worked for them in the past. The PS4 was marketed as a powerful, gaming-focused console that offered the best gaming experience possible. PlayStation's messaging emphasized the console's ease of use, its social features, and its impressive library of exclusive games. PlayStation brand soared once again, rocketing upward in the charts. By the end of the PS4 era and into the launch of the PlayStation 5, the gaming company's messaging had shifted once again into an older, more mature market leader position. A position that not only tells the tale of their technical prowess, but also their arrogant and sterile stance towards their audience. The PS5 is marketed as a next-gen console that offers lightning-fast load times, immersive graphics, and new and exciting ways to play. But the games are pretty much the only thing about the current PlayStation brand that's exciting. The PlayStation I grew up with and fell in love with has changed, and I don't like what it's become.
Debuting in 1995, PlayStation became the world's best-selling game console and was soon generating 40% of Sony Electronics' annual revenues.
Now before we get too far, I should say that I love PlayStation. I've owned every generation of the console and have even bought the majority of the accessories and all of the handhelds that the company has put out to market. I still love their games, but the brand's identity is what drew me to them and kept me there, and it's all but gone. In the early days of the PlayStation, the marketing was edgy and different. Sure, this was the style at the time. MTV culture ruled the airways, and being weird and different was suddenly cool. Sony's early marketing ads for the console fit the culture and made sense for the time. Playing video games was also still largely seen as something that only kids and teenagers did, and the marketing catered to us in a way that appealed to our sensibilities and let us believe we were somehow a part of the counterculture. But the thing that permeated through the corporate advertising, and surely plenty of statistical studies, was the atmosphere of fun. Regardless of how they got there, they led us to believing that owning a PlayStation would be first and foremost a good time.
$2.99.
Ads featuring Crash Bandicoot, still a PlayStation exclusive, were wacky and built hype for the console. The SAPS campaign mocked those who didn't understand gaming and wrote it off as a kid's activity. The mental wealth ad campaign shocked everybody who was seeing something a little more offbeat than we were used to. As the PS2 generation began, the marketing campaign shifted. There was still the occasional goofy ad and the fun anyone campaign, but the main crux of the marketing began shifting more towards the console's cutting-edge graphics and the library of mature and edgy games. Soon after, it was announced that not only could the PS2 play CDs like its predecessor, but could also be used as a DVD player and connect to the internet in a time when DVD players were still very expensive. The brand of PlayStation became more important than the games themselves that were actually on the system, and the PlayStation 2's position as a powerful and versatile device that could be used in living rooms around the world was cemented, leading to its status as the best-selling console of all time, a title it still holds today. PlayStation's approach to its audience had started to shift, but it had retained the edgy and countercultural stance it held before. The absurdity of Twisted Metal, one of the standout launch titles from the original PlayStation's launch library, was back with Twisted Metal Black, this time with a darker, more mature tone. The God of War series began soon after, marking the beginning of an iconic franchise that not only showed off the power of the console, but also brought with it more adult themes. The world was eating it up. The PlayStation 2 was appealing to kids who wanted to play goofy games, teenagers and adults who wanted something more gritty and disturbing, and everyone in between who just needed an affordable way to play high-fidelity movies in their houses. PlayStation was untouchable. Until it wasn't.
Whoops.
The controversy over the PS3 price arose in the lead-up to the console's launch in 2006. Sony's announcement that the PS3 would have a starting price of $499 for the 20 gig model and $599 for the 60 gig model was startling. This was significantly more expensive than the competition at the time, with the Xbox 360 starting at $299 and the Nintendo Wii starting at $249. There were several factors that contributed to the high price of the PS3, including the Blu-ray disc drive, the built-in Wi-Fi, and the cell processor, and more, but it was up to Sony to prove why they were worth it. Many gamers and industry analysts criticized Sony for the high price of the PS3, arguing that it would be a major barrier to adoption and it could hurt the console's chances of success. Some even predicted that the PS3 would be a failure, citing the high price and lack of compelling launch titles. Despite the criticism, Sony stuck with the high price point and launched the PS3 in November of 2006. The console initially struggled in the market with slow sales and the lack of compelling exclusive games. As time went, the resurgence of the PS3 was, in part, due to the launch of several highly anticipated exclusive games, including titles like Uncharted, God of War 3, and The Last of Us. These games helped demonstrate the power of the PS3 and gave gamers a reason to invest in the console. Sony also made a number of strategic moves to lower the cost of the PS3 over time, leading to a $300 console by 2009. As Blu-rays and serious gaming experiences became even more popular, so did the PS3. But in my opinion, the major shift in customer loyalty and excitement toward the PlayStation brand can be traced back to two people: Kevin Butler and Shuhei Yoshida.
No. Broshida.
Shuhei Yoshida and Kevin Butler played different but complementary roles in the success of the PS3. Kevin Butler was a fictional character, played by actor Jerry Lambert, who served as the face of the PlayStation marketing during the PS3 era. Butler was known for his humorous and irreverent approach to marketing, which helped to give the PlayStation brand a distinct personality and voice. He starred in a series of popular TV commercials that poked fun at rival console brands and helped to build excitement and buzz around the PS3. Butler's marketing campaigns helped to position the PlayStation 3 as a premium console for serious gamers, which helped to counteract some of the negative perceptions that had risen around the console's high launch price. Shuhei Yoshida, on the other hand, was the very real head of Sony Worldwide Studios during the PS3 era. In this role, he oversaw the development of many of the PS3's most successful exclusive games, such as the Uncharted, God of War, and Last of Us series. Yoshida was instrumental in fostering a culture of creativity and innovation within Sony's game development teams, which helped them to produce some of the most critically acclaimed games of the generation. Additionally, Yoshida was known for his accessibility and approachability, which helped him to build a strong rapport with gamers and the gaming press. Overall, Shuhei Yoshida and Kevin Butler played important roles in the success of the PS3. Yoshida's leadership helped them to produce some of the most innovative and critically acclaimed games of the generation, while Butler's marketing campaigns helped to build excitement and buzz around the console, and position it as a premium gaming platform. Together, they helped to establish the PlayStation brand as a leader in the gaming industry, and set the stage for the success of the PS4 and beyond. The marketing tone around the PS4 was focused on the console's gaming capabilities, and provided a platform for gamers to connect and share their experiences with one another. Sony's marketing campaign for the PS4 emphasized the console's powerful hardware and innovative features, such as the DualShock 4 controller with its touchpad and built-in speaker. The launch campaign was also focused on exclusive games like Killzone Shadowfall, Infamous Second Son, and of course, who could forget Knack? This highlighted the console's capabilities and the quality of the gaming experiences it offered. One of the most significant changes in the marketing tone around the PS4 was the shift away from the more casual tone of the PS3 era. The PS4 was marketed as a console for serious gamers, with a focus on providing high-quality gaming experiences and a platform for gamers to connect and share. The shift was reflected in Sony's "For the Players" slogan, which emphasized the company's commitment to putting gamers at the center of everything it did. More casual didn't necessarily mean more hardcore though, as Sony's efforts towards bringing indie games into the limelight was met with huge enthusiasm from consumers and developers alike. Sony also used social media to extensively connect with gamers and promote the PS4. The company used social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to showcase upcoming games, provide sneak peeks of the new features and hardware, and engage with the gaming community. This approach helped to build excitement and buzz around the console, and fostered a sense of community among gamers. Overall, the marketing tone around the PS4 was focused on providing a platform for people to connect and share their experiences, and on emphasizing the console's powerful hardware and exclusive games. This approach helped to position the PS4 as a premium console for serious gamers. This contributed to its success as one of the best-selling consoles of all time. Sony was once again the console market leader in the hardcore space, but their communication strategy had changed significantly. The Xbox One generation hadn't been kind to Xbox fans, and PlayStation knew they were winning in both sales and public perception. Many people felt that Sony's overwhelming success was leading them to a more sterile and safe position, one that investors and board members loved but fans didn't necessarily feel connected to. It was toward the end of the generation that Shuhei Yoshida
No. Brohei Broshida.
and Sean Layden, the likable CEO of Worldwide Studios, both disappeared from their roles within a matter of a few months. Sean retired, and Shuhei was seemingly demoted to a less visible role at Sony, to the disappointment of many of his fans. With both Layden and Yoshida gone, a drastic difference in tone was set. Herman Hulst took over as head of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios, and though he isn't necessarily an unlikable figure, he is a quiet one. Jim Ryan, who became president and CEO at SIE, also in 2019, is a somewhat controversial figure. The timing for this change could not have come at a more damaging time for the PlayStation brand, in my opinion, as the PS5 would launch in late 2020. One of the most important pieces of a launch campaign is clarity and communication with customers. Gone were the days of PlayStation executives appearing on podcasts and giving interviews to anyone except for legacy brands like GQ and Wired. Sony chose not to attend E3 in 2019 for the first time since the convention's inception. 2020 and beyond were marred by a worldwide health crisis that kept people at home with plenty of free time to think about questions for the new console. One of the most notable mistakes was the pre-order process for the PS5. In September of 2020, Sony announced that pre-orders would be announced soon, catching many gamers off guard and causing confusion about when and where to order it. Some retailers began offering pre-orders immediately, leading to frustration and anger from people who missed out. Sony later apologized for the confusion and promised to improve communication about pre-orders in the future. Another issue was the lack of clarity around the launch lineup of games. While the PS5 had several highly anticipated exclusive titles, like Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Demon's Souls, some fans were disappointed that there weren't more exclusive games available at launch. Additionally, the discussion about whether PS4 games would be compatible with the PS5 was unclear for a long time. There were also some criticisms of the overall marketing tone leading up to the PS5 launch. Some fans felt that Sony was too focused on the technical specifications and performance of the console, rather than highlighting some of the unique features and experiences it could offer. There were also some concerns about the price, and the availability of the PS5 just wasn't there. Though from my perspective, Jim Ryan is not necessarily a great communicator, he does seem to be doing a good job with the vision for the future, and ensuring financial success for the brand. However, this doesn't really matter to fans much though, when unpopular opinions like the closure of the PS3, PSP, and Vita stores were announced, or when he insults the legacy of major franchises for the PlayStation brand, like Gran Turismo. We also haven't heard anything about upcoming games from PlayStation in a long time. In fact, other than hearing tales about Jim Ryan flying around the world to argue against Microsoft's Activision Blizzard King acquisition, we haven't heard almost anything from PlayStation at all. Despite all of this, the PS5 has been a commercial and critical success, with strong sales and positive reviews. Sony has continued to market the console effectively, highlighting the exclusive titles and features that make it a compelling choice for gamers. But still, I miss the days of old. The days when you never knew what Sony was going to do next. I'm not saying I need the edgy, grungy marketing campaigns of the 90s, or the bombastic, over-the-top feature films like we saw during the PS2 days. But a little personality in the brand and an occasional joke from a talking head would be nice.
No. Brohei Broshida.
I miss the old PlayStation. If you feel the same way, let me know down in the comments. I'm curious to see what you think about Sony's current approach to marketing, and whether you're also nostalgic for the days of old. And if you enjoyed the video, or it at least made you think, I'd appreciate a subscription. It's free, and it'll make my day. Thanks for watching.